Alright guys, welcome back to another Fortnite video, and in this one, it is time for my Week 5 Challenges Guide. That is right guys, so I'm going to be showing you how to complete a lap at the racetrack at Happy Hamlet. I'll show you the location of that. Also like super easy ways to search chests at Shifty Shafts or Paradise Palms. We'll go over the best chests to get there, as well as tips, tricks, and secrets for all of the other challenges too, like using a volcano vent, a vehicle, and a zip line. Super easy way to do that, and more. And overall, just showing you tips, tricks, and secrets for all of the challenges this week. But anyways guys, before we get into that, if you find these guides helpful and you want to help support me and help support the guides, be sure to use code TheLlamaSir in the item shop. And shout out to these people on screen for using my code and also commenting on my previous video that they used my code. And again, reminder, the code you have put in support a creator resets every 14 days, so make sure to re-put it in if it's been after 2 weeks. But again, thanks to all of you who have been doing that. But yeah guys, on top of that, be sure to hit that like button down below if you find these guides helpful. Seriously helps me out a ton, and I love seeing that you guys are, enjoying these videos and finding them helpful. And also comment down below what tier you guys are at. That also helps me to see how far along you guys are in the challenges and that these videos help, which is always awesome to see. I love seeing how far you guys are in the challenges and stuff like that. And like me, for example, I'm at tier 78. But without further ado, let's jump into it with the overview of the challenges for this week. You guys know I like to give you an overview in case you're not home to see them, since the challenges do release early in the morning. So these are the challenges we have this week. And also, if you're curious about the secret loading screen star for this week, I actually showed you how to do that in a separate video, and the link for that video will be in the description and also the pinned comment down below. So maybe finish up with this guide since you have to do these challenges first, and then go over to that video. It also has like some changes in the recent update, some secret changes and stuff like that. So it's a really fun video. Be sure to check that out. But yeah, as for the challenges this week, you have search chests at Shifty Shafts or Paradise Palms. Again, I'll show you some good chests to go after there. Deal damage with scoped weapons to opponents. Use a volcano vent, a vehicle, and a zip line in the same match. I'll show you a super easy way to do that too. Complete a lap of the racetrack in Happy Hamlet. I'll show you the location of that. Eliminate opponents at pirate camps. Get 15 bounces in a single throw with the bouncy ball toy, or is it 15? Maybe I put that down wrong, but either way, I've got some ways to get like a bunch of bounces, as well as gain shields from mushrooms plus stages. But yeah guys, let's go ahead and jump into it with the first challenge I want to cover in this video, and that is the eliminating opponents at pirate camps. And the main thing surrounding this is just knowing where the pirate camps are and also finding people at the pirate camps. And I have multiple things to go over with this. So basically, starting out here, which game mode is best? I would recommend solo. I wouldn't recommend something like Team Rumble, because obviously there's a lot less players, and to even find somebody at an enemy pirate camp, you might have to go to their side, or you may get lucky and the circle will be around a pirate camp. But even then, it might be a little bit tough to find people there, but that is a possibility. Build up a ton on the pirate camp and then wait for people to come by. That might work. However, I do recommend doing solo, and as soon as you get onto the bus, jump to the nearest pirate camp, and after a little bit of time, you should be able to get this challenge done. Now with that being said, let's go over the locations again of these pirate camps. But starting out, I think actually one that I would recommend is the one near Dusty Divot. I know like the other ones are closer, but the one at Dusty Divot seems to be the most common, like especially in like mid-game. Whenever I go by this specific pirate camp, I can usually find people there. So maybe that's just me in the games I've been in. But then for the ones around it, you have this one near Fatal Fields is a good one to probably go to as well. But on top of that, if we go clockwise around the map, you've got one near the Frozen Lake right now, but you've got one near there which could be good to go to. Also near Pleasant Park, you have this one right here. I mean, it is kind of hidden, so maybe not. Maybe go for the others. And similarly to that, there's also this one at Lazy Lagoon, which is also a little bit, more hidden, so maybe not a ton of people will go there. But on top of that, you also have the one near the volcano, which could be a decent one to go to. And then the final of the 7 pirate camps is the one at Paradise Palms, or I'm sorry, near Paradise Palms at the bridge. So yeah guys, those are the locations of those. Shouldn't be that tough overall. But then after that guys, let's go over the chest challenge for this week. And this one is pretty interesting. Paradise Palms or Shifty Shafts. So those are two pretty different locations, but let's go over like where you can find some good chests here. But first of all, what's the best game mode to do this in? Obviously, I would recommend Team Rumble, because you can land on the location that is on your side, and that way you don't have to worry about enemies, trying to eliminate you, and you can loot in peace. Well, most of the time. However, guys, I want to jump into game right here to show you like some of the chests that I would recommend going for. And let's start off with Shifty Shafts. You can see it down there. Personally, I think I might recommend Shifty Shafts because it is probably going to be a little bit more quieter, I would assume, but it does also have a decent amount of chests. So like as you can see here, there's one in this truck that you can maybe go for. I am in Playgrounds just to show you as an example, since the chests always spawn in playgrounds, but if you're doing like solo or team rumble, I don't think they always spawn. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Personally, I would avoid the chest that is in here. A lot of people know about that one and go for it. However, this one right here can be a good one to go after because you have to actually break something to get to it. Not a lot of people want to do that. And then maybe you can go down to this one over here if it spawns. However, you can run into right over here, and there's a chest behind here as well, which could be a good one because again, you have to break something down to get to it. There is one down here as well, which you could maybe try, but that's a little bit further away. But I could also recommend going to this chest over here since it's sort of, you know, decently distanced from the main building, and there's another one behind there, as you can see. After that then, though, you can also try these houses over here. I'm not 100% sure if they count, but I think they might. But in these houses, I think each of them has two. This one has one in the attic and one in the basement, and this one has one as you can see right there, and also behind this wall at the top of the stairs. You'll have to break down a wall here, and there you go. And then for Paradise Palms, I'm not going to show you a ton because there's no like super secret chests. I mean, a lot of the houses, as you can see and probably already know, have 1 or 2 chests each, which isn't crazy, but yeah, this location should have a few more than Shifty Shafts, I would think. However, the place I recommend going is the pool area because for one, there is a chest behind here, as you can see right there. And there's also a fairly secret chest back behind here that you can grab. Like, nobody ever goes for that one. But that's not it. On top of it, you can go over here, and there's a fairly hidden one in the back of this truck that you can grab too. And then after that, you know, you can go into the shops. There's a bunch of chests in the shops which you can find. Or you can run through and check for this chest, because a lot of the times people won't go for that one because they might be at the top looting up and coming down. So that one might be free to grab as well. But yeah, there you go, guys. Moving on to the next one, though, I wanted to show this one to you guys in game 2 because it is the use a volcano vent, a vehicle, and a zipline in the same match. And the reason I want to show this one to you, in game is because I actually have a good place to go for this to get it done like super duper easily. So basically it has to do with the jungle biome. So like, for example, again, this is playground. I'm like 99% sure you cannot do it in playgrounds. This is just an example. But say for example, you're on the battle bus, you just jumped off. I would go for first of all, one of these 2 vents on this side of the volcano. You've got one right down there and one right down here as well. Also, there's a bunch over down at that area that you can see. Those can be good for getting volcano vents too. Now, the reason you want to do this right off the bat is because you can just do this, you know, get the first part done hitting the volcano vent, then you can go down right over to here and get on a zip line. Now, that's not the only amazing thing about this spot, because once you get off the zip line, you can run right down here, as you can see, get some mats, build over that fence or break through it, go through this store, and then you've got some ballers that you can use to get the vehicle portion of it. Or there's also quad crashers right here, and I believe there's also, yeah, some drift boards up on top of here. So those are plenty of vehicles to help you get this challenge done, and those are all 3 in like no time flat. Those are some of the closest ones for this challenge, so hopefully that helps you guys out right there. But then after that, guys, let's discuss the challenge: complete a lap of the racetrack in Happy Hamlet. But real quick, before we get into that, guys, if you haven't yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below and turn on notifications, because I post these guides every single week, and if you don't want to miss them, that's the best way to know about them, so be sure to do so. But back to this challenge, there are some tips I want to give to you about it on top of just, you know, showing you guys the location of this, because it is tough. This location only has 4 of the baller vehicles there, which means if you get there and you can't get a baller, I'm pretty sure you can't complete this challenge. Maybe you can by running through it, but I'm not 100% sure. It's probably best to have the baller in the first place. So yeah, there's some tips I want to give you, but let's go ahead and jump into game here so I can show you here in detail. Alright guys, but here we are in game, and as you can see, Happy Hamlet is right here. So if you're, you know, dropping into a game, and actually the location of it is to the west of Happy Hamlet, as you can see, you'll find these, what would you call them? Borders? I don't exactly know, but basically the racetrack is right here, and you want to land right at the start of it. Now, the tough part about this, again, there are only 4 ballers. Now, I was here a little bit ago just testing it out, so that's why some of them are, you know, moved around, but there are 4 here. Now, the tough part about that is that, again, well, there's 4 of them. What are you gonna do if more than 4 people come here? And also, I'm not sure if all 4 of these spawn every time. So something to keep in mind, maybe you can do Team Rumble, and if this is on your side, you can drop here and try to get a baller before your teammates. But something else you can maybe try is to go over there. As you can see, the outpost has some that not many people are going to be going to, more than likely, so you could grab one of those. It's gonna take you a little bit longer longer, but then you don't really have to worry as much about not getting one. So yeah, try one of those two, but once you get over here, you simply want to get in and line up and wait for the timer to start and get down to, you know, 0 so the race actually begins. Alright, here we go, and then as soon as it starts, you go off, and then, you know, you can use your grappler or whatever. You don't really have to, but you just want to keep going through these rings, as you can see. And honestly, it's pretty easy. Doesn't really take that long. You just want to keep going along here, go around this part right here too. And then this one, you know what, let's test it out real quick. Do you have to swing through it, or can you go under it? Alright, no, you do have to swing through it. So there you go, that's just a little test, so, you know, grapple up onto this here, and it's pretty easy to just swing on through. But then after that, you know, you can swing around right here, and then the rest of this is pretty straightforward. So we just go through this ring, and I think this one is the final ring. And then you wrap around and go through the finish line. Okay, hit the top of it. No, you don't want to do that. You want to go through the finish line, and there you go. That wasn't the fastest, but it doesn't really matter. As long as you get the lap done, you get the challenge done. So let's go. And then after that, guys, let's talk about the challenge, which is to gain shield from mushrooms plus stages. Now, unfortunately, I don't know what the other stages are right at this moment. I wanted to get this video out to you guys as soon as possible, but still, let's focus on this first stage since it is pretty interesting and it's gaining shield from mushrooms. So let's go over like the best places to find mushrooms and stuff like that. Like, for example, probably the best location to find these is actually Dusty Divot. You know, you got a bunch of the trees and a bunch of those shield mushrooms to pick up right there. However, there are some other locations you can go to as well. One location I could also recommend is the area next to Pleasant Park, and it's near that one pirate camp. Actually, on top of that, I almost forgot, but one of the amazing places is Lonely Lodge. That has a ton of these, and Lonely Lodge is pretty decent in size. So going there, you will be able to find a decent amount of these, so I definitely recommend that spot as well. But on top of that, you've also got that area between the Volcano and Retail Road. There's a bunch of them that you can find in there as well. On top of that, also Shifty Shafts, I think, still has some, even though it's sort of, you know, in the snowy biome a bit. So you can go over there as well, and that's a decent place to find them. But those main areas are the ones I would recommend, so be sure to check those out. But keeping it going here, you also have deal damage with scoped weapons to opponents, and you have to do a decent amount, but this one is honestly a pretty straightforward and fairly easy challenge. There's still a couple of things I can give you tips on, like, for example, the game mode. I would for sure recommend Team Rumble. That's by far the best game mode to do this in, since obviously you have respawns. You can get a lot of damage done in that game mode. But then on top of that, as for the scoped weapons, obviously you can use snipers, but personally I would look for the scoped AR. That's probably the best for this. You could also use the thermal or like the scoped revolver, but just use whatever you want. But then for the final challenge I want to talk about, guys, this is to get a bunch of bounces in a single throw with a bouncy ball toy, which is definitely an interesting challenge, but I've got some ways to get like a ton of bounces with this. So I won't go super into depth with it, but basically like one of the easiest ways is to simply build a 1x1 around you, and then when you use the bouncy ball, you don't want to throw it at the wall in front of you. You actually want to throw it at your feet. I'm pretty sure this actually helps you to get more bounces. I was getting around 40 doing this, and that's definitely, you know, an easy and good way to go about doing this. However, if you want to get even more than that, I was actually able to get 80 by doing this weird setup where I like built a ramp pretty high up, and then at the very top I did a 1x1, did a similar thing, but right when it was about to slow down, I edited out the floor below it, so it went down the ramp and I was able to get around like 80, which is pretty crazy overall, so I thought I'd add that into the video as well. But yeah, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more guides like this coming out in the near future. On top of that, you can check out some of my previous videos here, such as on the left, my week 4 challenges guide, and then on the right, whatever is my most recent video, it'll show up there. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.